Hi, good morning, and welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire podcast. This is episode 644, and we're here live in Southwest Florida in my beautiful tropical backyard. We have construction going on this direction today. Looks like they're ripping a roof off, so hopefully that's not too loud or distracting, but as you are well aware, there's not much I can do about it either way. If you're joining me live, please say hello. Let me know what you're doing this morning. Hi, Joe. Hi, Naomi. If you have any questions for me, by all means, please feel welcome to ask. I need to clean my glasses. As you know, I wear these for reading, but I don't need them for anything else, so I'm constantly taking them on and off throughout the day, which means I'm constantly touching them and constantly getting fingerprints on them. Hi Lisa, hi Constance, hi Val, Rita, Jill, Thea, Chris. Good morning everybody. Kiranjit, Chris. What other names have I missed? Let's see. I think I've missed. Hi Christine and Thea. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Kat and Carmen. Donna, good morning. Hi, Kim. What's today, Tuesday? Hi, Mariana and Joyce. Is today Tuesday? If I'm not correct, somebody let me know. I think it's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hi, Lucy. The days just all run together, you know? They just run together. Hi, Sunshine. I've been so busy behind the scenes. That the days just run together, but always good stuff, and I've got so much to share with you soon. Okay, I posted a bunch of links in the video description and in the fixed comments already for what we're going to talk about today. I'm wearing several patterns that you may be wondering about already. I am wearing the Sweet Clara top and which is a crochet pattern. I'm wearing the Alicia crochet earrings. I'm wearing the Sandy scrunchie. There's something about wearing the scrunchie and big earrings. It's definitely great for a no hair or not doing your hair day. You know what I mean? I love when I don't feel like blow drying my hair to put my hair up in a scrunchie, and honestly, a bun with a crochet and beaded scrunchie does not feel like I'm not put together. I love the fact that I can put my hair up and it still feels put together, and then to combine a bun and a beaded crochet scrunchie with big earrings, even better. I feel like I look so much more put together than the effort that went into it, so it's kind of like a secret tip. These earrings are super fun to make. It's 3 different tiers of crochet chains. And I did this in 3 different colors of Be So Fine yarn. And I think that combining the coral and pink with a coral Amazon dress with the pink Sweet Clara top was just a fun way to mix and match corals and pinks today. Hi, Dory. Thanks, Thea. I love mixing pink and coral together. Jill made the Bianca already. See, I told you it was going to be fast and easy. I'm so glad that you agree. Wonderful. That's awesome. I did bring out the Bianca knit dress today, and I brought out the Sweet Clara dress today because I wanted to talk about a couple things between them. You know, every single time that I show or feature or talk about or release a pattern that is crocheted, immediately someone says, oh wow, I only knit. Do you do that? Do you have that exact same thing in knitting? Or if I release a knitting pattern, people say, oh, I really love that, but I don't knit. Do you have the same exact thing in crochet? Or wow, that's a pretty dress. Do you have it in something else? And the short answer is yes, I have hundreds of patterns, and if you go to my website and you click on crochet patterns or knitting patterns and you're looking for something specific like a dress or a top or a cardigan, there are great filters at the tops of each of those shopping pages so that you can filter down and see what I have in whatever specific category you're looking at. I have separated out knitting and crochet patterns because so many people don't do both crafts. So when you go to my website, KristinOmdahl.com, at the very top of the page, there'll be a link to crochet patterns and knitting patterns or books and yarn and all sorts of other resources there actually. But within knitting and crochet patterns, yes, there are tons and tons of patterns. And if you see something you like, but it's not exactly what you're looking for, go pop over there and check it out, because I'm sure that there are lots of other things that might interest you as well. Most of the time, I can't say 100% of the time because I'm not always the most thorough person in the world, just being honest about my flaws. Most of the time, if a pattern has a video tutorial already for it, it should be embedded in the pattern page there. I have not always been consistent about adding them there, so if you don't see the video tutorial for a pattern, chances are there is one, and if you search that pattern here on my YouTube channel, you can find it here as well. I really try to always make video tutorials to go along with my patterns, not to be standalone pattern videos, but to help people with crocheting or knitting the patterns. And the reason I do it that way instead of making a standalone video that is just the tutorial to learn something is because I feel like people learn in a combination of techniques. And I think in order to give the best teaching experience I can, I feel like it comes from a combination of written pattern, schematic, detailed charts, and video tutorial. I know there are plenty of other YouTubers out there who give videos that are an hour long or 2 hours long, and they go and just teach a pattern in video format, and that's great. And if that works for other people, more power to you, that's wonderful. And sometimes people will ask me, oh, well, this doesn't tell me exactly how to do every single step. No, it doesn't. I do a condensed video with the intentional purpose of making it an, part of the whole learning process. So for me, my style of teaching is to show you as many different types of ways of saying something or showing something to really give you the fullest version of learning a new technique or something specific. And I feel like I do get feedback from people sometimes saying that, and I've noticed this with the Cosmo crochet along bags specifically, people will say, I did not know how to do joining motifs as you go, or joining motifs on the diagonal, or whatever the technique was in that bag. I've gotten several emails about it saying, I did not know how to do this. I had no idea how I was going to learn how to do this, but somehow through this whole process of pattern, charts, schematics, and video tutorial, I was able to do something I've never done before. And as a teacher, I have to say, that is absolutely the best compliment I could possibly receive. So whoever has sent me those emails, thank you, because you help validate why I do what I do. So thank you. Hi Dave, good morning, and hello to everybody. I might have missed your names in the beginning. I apologize for that. Does anybody have any questions before I move on to talking about the different dresses behind me? So I did want to touch on that. Kiranjit learned a bunch from the Cosmo Crochet Along. That's wonderful. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Proverbs. Yes, Kim agrees that multiple formats makes for more successful learning. Yes, it makes for more successful learning, and I think it also makes the learning experience more, what's the word when it sticks? You know, sometimes you can learn something quickly and then it goes away. I think that if you're going to learn something that's actually going to stick with you and something that you can apply to other things, I can't think of the word for it. You know how bad I could be with my words sometimes. I'm sorry. I think that when you learn things in multiple formats, it allows that whatever you have learned to be retained better. So retained. Yes, I said it the same time you did, Kathy. Thank you. Yay, Naomi says she's learned a whole bunch from my complete and comprehensive way of teaching. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. Butterfly kisses, yes, embedded in your brain, yes. And so when something is retained in your brain and you have the ability to then apply it to other things. So I feel like when you learn something comprehensively in multiple ways and you retain it in your brain, you can then apply it to other things. So when you're watching someone else's YouTube videos or reading someone else's patterns or trying to experiment with designing or creating something on your own without a pattern, it is that information that you have retained because of a comprehensive way of learning that you're able to apply to other things. So I think it helps you to grow as well. Uh-oh, I caught a kitty. I caught a kitty. Who is that? Is that Becker, Boo? Is that Becker? Hi, baby. This guy was so lovey all night. He wanted to cuddle with me all night long. Kind of kept me awake, too. But that's okay. I'll stay awake for kitty cuddles. Look at that face. Who's got the pretty eyes, huh? Are you ready to get down? Uh-oh, I caught a kitty and then I have to release him. All right, go play with your brother. I don't see Bjorn. I guess Bjorn's somewhere else. Okay, all right, so I don't see any questions. Oh, Kathy's using the joining technique from the Cosmo bag in a blanket she's working on. Wonderful, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, there are links in the video description to everything I'm showing here this morning, and I mentioned it first thing when we started. These are the Alicia crochet earrings. This is the sandy beaded crochet scrunchie. I'm wearing the Sweet Clara top, and I'm wearing it with an Amazon dress in coral. I've posted links to all of these things in the video description and in the comments. But what I wanted to talk about this morning was that, you know, as soon as I release a pattern, I immediately get questions about something that's not part of the pattern. Like when I released the Bianca knit dress last week, I immediately got questions, wow, I really love it, but do you have it in crochet? And, you know, no, I have this in knitting, but I have lots of other things in crochet. And I wanted to point out that not only do I have lots of dresses in knitting and or crochet, but any of the tops that are loose and swingy and A-line like this, you could adjust the length of them to be shorter dresses like this. So if you just added more yarn, you could definitely make the Sweet Clara this length. Now I do have a pattern for the Sweet Clara dress as well that is much longer, and it has a beautiful flower petal edging on it. But again, it's top down. Whoops, hold on a second. It's top down, so you could absolutely adjust the length of it to be any length you want. So if you wanted this mid-thigh mini skirt dress length, any of these other pieces could be done to a shorter length. And one thing I didn't add in the comments this morning, but I could also mention, is that the Thalia dress, again, it's worked top down and in pieces. So if you wanted it the same length as this one, you would simply make those make the skirt section shorter, right? It's when you're doing things that are worked in components like that or worked from the top down, it is very, very easy to modify them for different lengths. Now, one of the things that really helps with this is if a pattern has schematics. You know how I mentioned that having pattern, when I release a pattern, it has written instructions, charts, schematics, and video tutorial. The schematic is where you are going to be really interested in studying that component when you're wanting to modify something. So understanding the construction, which I often talk about the construction either in a note or in the introduction of a pattern, because I feel like that's really important to understand, not only for wrapping your head around what you're about to do, but for modification. We are all loving to make handmade DIY clothes, right? That's one of the reasons why we enjoy knitting and crochet and sewing. It's because we like to make our own things. When you're making your own things, yes, you start with a pattern, but it is in your customization and your modifications that you make it unique for yourself. Whether that's picking the yarn, picking the color, adding different components, making your sleeves longer or shorter, making the skirt longer or shorter. There are adding the belt, styling it in different ways. There are so many ways that you make it your own beyond whatever the pattern has written for you, or beyond whatever is suggested in the styling of a pattern. So keep in mind that it is still you making it your own, so it is perfectly fine to adjust the length of anything, adjust the sleeve length or the body length to make it your own. Oh, Anna, that's sweet. Anna made, I'm guessing, the Cosmo bag, and her 17-year-old daughter loved it so much that she gifted it to her. All right, well, maybe you'll make another one now. And it certainly gets easier making something a second time, too, right? Yes, very nice of you, Anna. Hey, there's nothing better, right, than someone appreciating something handmade. It's one thing to gift people our handmade work when... Dave, I won't be able to go back and see that you asked a question at 14 minutes in. If you want to repeat it, you're more than happy to, or if you want to ask it in the recorded comments, that's fine as well. But I have no way of scrolling back when I'm live. But you're more than welcome to ask it again if it's important to you. What else? What was I saying? Oh, when sewing, it was not the easiest place to sew on the mannequin. I agree. If you using a flat table is usually the easiest way to sew. However, I've sewn a lot of things in the past, and I have no problem sewing on a mannequin. The only thing that I would have done differently if I wasn't live and, you know, trying to do all of the fun live components of it, I would have pinned both sides flat on the table first to make sure that my seams were symmetrical from left to right, but also to make sure that my seams were symmetrical from front to back. So let me explain what that means. So front to back, meaning that this armhole was the exact same, or no, from left to right, making sure that this one started at the same depth as this one, and that this hem ended at the same amount from this one. So that's what I mean by making it symmetrical left to right. Then when I mean symmetrical front to back, making sure that these two pieces lined up as I was sewing them so that the hem would be the same. So remember how I thought that I had made a mistake? Turns out I didn't make a mistake on the sleeve openings. They were right. But it looks like I had added a little, I had been too aggressive from front to back on one of these hems, and so I had to pull out one extra stitch from front to back or whatever on one of my side hems here, and that's what made my slit more symmetrical. So that's what I mean. If you could pin those items first, then sewing on a mannequin is not that much harder than sewing flat on a surface. In fact, sewing on the mannequin stopped me. If you sew flat on a surface, once you're sewing the second side, you could run into sewing both pieces together. So once you have more than one thickness together. But as far as working on the mannequin, I think that that's pretty easy to do as long as you have, you know what they say, measure twice, cut once. Well, the same applies to sewing. I would make sure that you have the pieces all lined up symmetrical first. So that's my answer to your question. I'm glad Joe could repeat it for you. Yeah, in some ways I find it's easier on the mannequin, but again, it depends on the project and what you're doing. Some things are way easier working on a table. Nothing really is easier in your lap. It's always easier to have the mannequin or the table. I always feel like when you have something else with you, it's like having an extra pair of hands. I think doing things in your lap is always the hardest. Let's see. Yeah, I noticed a mistake at one point. Are any of my yarns similar to wool-like? I'm guessing you're asking if I have any yarn with wool in it. I don't believe I sell any yarn with wool in it at the moment. If you're talking about having like a lofty texture to it, I would say Be So Soulful sock yarn has a loftiness to it that you often find in an animal fiber. It is not an animal fiber though, so I'm not really sure what you mean by wool-like. If you want to elaborate, I'd be happy to try to answer your question, but that's from Kim. All of my yarns are plant-based at the moment, so they're either bamboo, cotton, or blended with bamboo and cotton. And the Be So Soulful sock yarn is bamboo blended with Serona fiber, which is a eco-friendly replacement to nylon, which is petroleum-based. It's a Serona fiber that is super durable and anti-moisture, so anti-wick, or is it self-wicking? Yeah. Anyway, and it has a loftiness to it that if that's what you're talking about, that would be a yarn that has that kind of loftiness. I do not have a bulky yarn that's a number 5 right now. The thickest yarn I have right now is a number 4, and that is Be So Tender cotton yarn. Yeah, Be So Bold cotton bamboo yarn. Those are both number 4 worsted weight yarns. I do not have a number 5 right now. I have several yarns at number 1, several yarns at number 2, Be So Baby number 3, and Be So Tender and Be So Bold at number 4 worsted weight. But you can double yarn to create larger yarn. So if you took Be So Baby number 3 DK weight yarn and you doubled it, you would have a number 5 chunky yarn. And if you tripled it, you could have the super bulky number 6 weight. So that's an option. You could use Be So Baby yarn, and I've doubled it and tripled it for different projects. The beautiful Afghan that what is it called? The Cherie Afghan, that circular Afghan that I did for 52 crochet gifts, that was Be So Baby yarn doubled. And I don't recall the hook size, but it ended up being like a number 5 yarn. And then we did some chain plying, if you remember. I did that really cool technique called chain plying, where you can take one ball of yarn and to make it 3-ply to triple a yarn. You could also take 3 different balls and triple it as well. And when we tripled Be So Baby yarn, which is DK weight, we were able to make it a super bulky number 6 weight yarn, which was super fast for making hats. Remember, we did some hats in that. And when we tripled the yarn, we also changed the color in some of the strands to create a gradient look with solid colors of yarn. That was super fun. You can search any of those videos here on my YouTube channel. The chain plying technique, which works for both knitting and crochet, and those gradient hats. I believe the gradient hats I did in knitting, so you could find that pattern on my website in the knitting pattern shop. Hello, Lily. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Michelle. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Yes, Tammy, if you like working with bulkier yarn, I would recommend trying Be So Baby yarn, which is my super soft 100% milk fiber DK weight yarn. And if you want to double it for chunky or triple it for super bulky, and if you are interested in learning the chain plying technique for turning a single ball into 3 plies of yarn instead of holding 3 balls at the same time, super fun. And that video's here on my YouTube channel, and there's more information about it on my website too. But super fun. I see a lot of people chiming in that that was fun. That was really fun. I definitely want to do more stuff like that. Well, like, okay, Kim, I have number 1 fingering weight yarn, Kim, which is 100% bamboo, and it's called Be So Fine yarn. You can find that yarn on my website. Maybe that's similar to that wool-like yarn you're talking, but the yarn you're talking about is acrylic and nylon. I don't have anything like that blend. But if you're looking for a fine weight yarn, I have Be So Fine, which is number 1 fingering weight. You could check that and see if that would work for the type of yardage and fineness that you're looking for. Oh, thanks Judy for adding the chain plying video. Thanks Karanjeet. I try to remember a lot of stuff. It's funny because some days I have, it's funny when I ask questions, when people ask questions here, I remember things. But if somebody like around the house asks me, what did you have for lunch today? I don't remember. What did you do yesterday? I don't know. Something, but I can remember every color of yarn that I've dyed. I can remember what's in stock. I can remember, it's funny. Some things you remember, some things you don't. Hi Donna, thanks for joining live. Hi Caroline. Some things you remember, some things you don't. I can remember how to make a recipe, but can I remember what was on my shopping list if I left it at home? Does anybody have any other questions? Lots of great questions today, everybody. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Joe, for the links today, and thank you, Judy, for these links as well. It's funny, I try to get the links going for when we start the podcast, but, you know, once we get talking, we talk about new things. Let's see. Jean, do I use a yarn winder? Yes, prices are all over the place with yarn winders, Jean. It depends on how much you're going to use it. I prefer the more expensive ones, but that's because as a yarn company, I wind a lot of yarn, so it's important to me to have really good quality products. But if you're winding yarn once in a while, I don't think it's necessary to have the most expensive products. I do share links to different yarn winding products in my Amazon shop. You can find that in the link below. My yarns I sell wound so that my customers don't have to wind the yarn themselves. So that is an option. You're saying you're new here, so you wouldn't have known that about my yarn shop. You can find more information about all of my yarns on my website. Yes, my moderators are amazing, Proverbs. I agree. If you need more help than that, Jean, please let me know. Judy's posting links to yarn winders in my Amazon shop, if that helps. But again, you know, it depends on how much yarn you plan on winding. And like I said, I do that for my customers just so that makes the process a lot easier for most people. Not everybody enjoys winding yarn. Some people do, but not everybody. Most people don't. Most people prefer to get right down to business, and I don't blame you, and that's why I'm more than happy to wind yarn for everybody. Yeah, Naomi, if I don't write things down, I don't remember either. Like a verbal conversation, I need things written down. I need an email or written down for sure. Yeah, Joe, let me do the winding. My pleasure. Susie likes spinning her own yarn. Wonderful. Yeah, I have a pink cup today, pink cup and pink straw. I am so bad with my glassware. I use plastic most of the time because glass I will break. I've been breaking plastic recently though. I remember that double insulated cup from Adagio Teas that I was using for iced tea. I've taken it on my bike several times in the last few weeks. Well, I was taking it on my bike every day for a while, and I pumped the air in my tires, and when I pumped the air in my tires, my bike got bouncier, and my glass bounced out of the cup holder on my bike, smashed on the cement. Did that 3 times. It was fine the first 3 times. Then yesterday, I was going to leave for a bike ride, and it was windy out. I ran in the house to, I don't know, lock up or whatever. My bike falls over in the driveway. That cup finally smashed to bits, plastic mind you, and I had to throw it out and go for my bike ride without a cup. And I break stuff all the time. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Judy. Caroline would like to read knitting patterns. I've got lots of videos on how to read patterns. You can check them out here on my YouTube channel. And if you have something specific that you would like, I'm always open to suggestions. Let's see. You're welcome, Naomi. My pleasure. I like making the process nice and pleasant for everybody. So yes, so winding yarn, selling it in little organza bags and anything I can, and signing and thanking everybody on their packing slip. I try to make the process just as sweet and pleasant as possible. Why not? We all have a choice every day, right? We have a choice. We can do things with kindness, we can do things with indifference, we can do things any way we want. And I think the most wonderful thing is having choice. And so when I get up in the morning, I choose to do the best I can with what I know. And just like in the words of the amazing Maya Angelou, when you know better, you do better, right? Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it so much. On that note, it's time to get back to work and get some orders shipped out. So thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes here with me. I hope you enjoyed all the show and tell and chatting with me and everyone else. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye-bye.